लंदन लिविंग विद रिजवान रशीद। रिजवान रशीद आपकी खिदमत में हाजिर है। अस्सलाम वालेकुम। जिस वक्त नाज़रीन ये प्रोग्राम रिकॉर्ड हो रहा है, आप जानते ही हैं कोविड-19 कोरोना वायरस से दुनिया अभी भी नबर्द आज़मा है। जब ये प्रोग्राम रिकॉर्ड हो रहा है इस वक्त करीबन ओवर 2 मिलियन पीपल हैज़ बिन इन्फेक्टेड बाय द वायरस और बहुत ज़्यादा अमवात भी हो चुकी हैं। अमेरिका इस वक्त वो सेंट्रल पॉइंट है। इस वक्त 6.5 लाख से ज़्यादा लोग इसमें हैं, जिसमें न्यूयॉर्क, न्यू जर्सी इज़ ऑन द प्राइम साइड। कनाडा भी करीबन 13,500 से ज़्यादा वो लोग इन्फेक्टेड हो चुके हैं। यहाँ पे ज़्यादा जो प्रॉब्लमैटिक बात ये थी कि जो नर्सिंग होम है वहाँ पे ये अमवात ज़्यादा हो रही हैं और लोग उनसे अफेक्ट हो रहे हैं। गवर्नमेंट ने बहुत सारे इक़दाम किए हैं। गवर्नमेंट सारे सोशल रिफॉर्म क्या फाइनेंशियल पैकेजेस उनका मुकम्मल तौर पे ट्रांसपेरेंसी के साथ बार बार इन चीज़ की यकीन दहानी करना। हर इवन स्मॉल बिजनेस जो कई चीज़ें चेंजेस जो उन्होंने ऐलान की उसके अलावा उनको अमेंड करना पड़ा। दे आर डूइंग फैंटास्टिक जॉब इन माय ओपिनियन। तो बहुत सारी चीज़ें आ रही हैं। अब इस चीज़ों में एक चीज़ जो मैंने एक सर्वे किया विद इन अवर कम्युनिटी एंड वी फाइंड आउट दैट kids are in self-isolation, how their mental state is going through. तो इस सिलसिले में मुझे हमारे यहाँ पे लंदन में इस वक्त बड़े ज़बरदस्त मायनाज डॉक्टर्स हैं, इवन चाइल्ड साइकियाट्रिस्ट, एंड दे अंडरस्टैंड हाउ टू डील विद दिस स्पेसिफिक सिचुएशन। तो मैंने हमारे यहाँ पे डॉक्टर नवेद रिजवी साहब हैं, चाइल्ड साइकियाट्रिस्ट फॉर लंदन हेल्थ साइंसेज, उनको दावत दी और उनसे कुछ ऐसे सवालात पूछे जो एक सर्वे से हमने कलेक्ट किए बच्चों से, वालिदैन से, कि इस सेल्फ आइसोलेशन में बच्चे एक मेंटल हेल्थ के किस दौर से गुजर रहे हैं और उनको कैसे सपोर्ट किया जा सके। तो आइए मिलते हैं डॉक्टर नवीद रिजवी साहब से। डॉक्टर साहब अस्सलाम वालेकुम। डॉक्टर साहब मेरा पहला सवाल ये है कि जैसे सब बड़े भी इसी दौर से गुजरे हैं, वो ये है कि सेल्फ आइसोलेशन में फॉर नॉट नोइंग व्हाट द फ्यूचर होल्ड्स, हमें ये मालूम नहीं कि व्हाट इज गोइंग टू बी इन द नियर फ्यूचर। सो किड्स, स्पेशली विद द किड्स हु डू नॉट अंडरस्टैंड द डायनामिक्स आर बिकॉज वेयर एवर देयर माइंडसेट, एज लिमिट और देयर अंडरस्टैंडिंग, सो हाउ डू यू हेल्प देम अंडरस्टैंड और थिंक पॉजिटिवली?
So telling kids, first of all, helping them positive thinking is going to be, it is okay to be anxious in that situation. It is very natural. It is everybody's job to be worried about it, so that we can prepare ourselves. Why? Because if we just feel anxious, then we don't feel in control. When we feel that, this anxiety serves a purpose, then the kid feels like, oh, okay, I'm in control. I can do something with my friend and family. It is going to be very important that adult grown-ups also manage their own stress and anxiety before they can even start thinking about addressing children's fears and anxiety. It's going to be very important, because if I'm stressed as a parent and I'm worried about how I'm doing, and I'm exposed in 24 hours, I'm just watching that media coverage which has all those rightfully so, but then very stressful images and news and numbers. It is going to be, it's going to affect my own behavior and how I am acting. Kids watch you. Kids learn from you. Do what you do to address your anxiety and stress. Because, of course, they're learning from their grown-ups, right? So it's going to be very important that we manage our stress by, first of all, stay positive, doing things that we are doing as best as possible in everyday life situation. As parents, keeping our day organized. I know there's a lot of changes. People are working from home and all that. But if we can make the changes, because there could be one example. If you are getting up like 10:30 or 11:30 in the morning and then not brushing your teeth, not changing the dress and everything, it is going to affect your kid. This is how they feel, because that's the behavior, right? So they're saying, my God, this is something bad is happening. Look at my parents, how they are reacting. So that's going to be very important that we continue to maintain as best as possible a normal daily rhythm.
Mhm.
What important thing is rhythm is important, as compared to a routine. Routine is that very rigid, we have to do things in a certain way, certain time. Rhythm is that we structure a day in a way that we can, do things maybe in a different, time, but around the same thing, eating, watching TV, news, and connecting with friends, with people, connecting with them, how they're doing. So that's very important. So that's very important. I just want to make sure that it is important for parents to model a behavior on thinking positive. And how do they know you're thinking positive? By watching your behavior and how you. So that's very important.
सर बड़ी जबरदस्त आपने बात की कि इफ पेरेंट्स उसी रूटीन में उसी तरह वो रिदम में रहेंगे, अपने आप को नॉर्मलिटी में शो करेंगे, एक्ट करेंगे, डूइंग their daily chores and everything, even waking up on time or dressing up, brushing your teeth, this will manifest in the thought process of the kids कि हर चीज normal है, there's nothing to worry about it. Very good point, sir.
So now going to the next thing, how to talk to kids. Absolutely, like I said in the beginning, okay, it's going to be very important to acknowledge kids' anxiety and very vigorous nature. So how do we do that? Well, as parents, this is what we do most of the time. If we see our kid is stressed out, maybe, they're quiet, they came back home from school, you watch their behavior. You respond to their behavior, right? So, and then you ask question, what's happening? Kya baat hai bhai? So what is it? Acknowledging, observing, and telling them, I'm here to listen to you. You don't ask them, kyun bhai, kisne mara? Yeah, what happened? You stay open. You let the kid talk.
Okay.
Right? So that would be important thing to, let them create an environment which is open, where the kid feels like, okay, you know what, I can ask questions, ask open-ended questions about their worries, feelings, and acknowledge their thoughts. It is important that, we don't probe them constantly, because that will cause a lot of anxiety. They'll talk when they're ready. Most of the kids will talk, definitely. But it's important not to probe them, not to, make them talk, because again, that will be a reflection of our own anxiety, right? So it's a fine balance. Creating an open environment, let them ask, let them question. Now, how to respond to that question? Then kids are going to be worried about their safety.
Yeah.
Very nature. Am I going to get sick? Parents and family members' safety. What is, affecting us? What would happen if somebody gets sick? How am I going to deal with that? Is it, is there a way that I can help in this situation, or I'm totally helpless? Those things are going to happen. And I'm, again, there could be a lot of different things, but these are the, very basic things. When I'm worried about something, these are the basic questions. What is the situation? What I'm going to do? How I'm going to react, right? Same thing applies to this pandemic. So thinking about that, asking them a question about how do you, know about, this situation. Are you worried about it? Has there been any worries about people and, friends, or are you worried about your sister or brother, things like that? People who are living at distance, away from home, that might be another, worrisome situation for some of these kids. So think about that, when you're asking these questions or helping them, it is going to be, creating an ability for the kids to talk a little bit about their own worries and fears. Responding to their worries, never promise. Be realistic. A lot of time as parent, my first instinct as a parent is going to be reassure my child and everything is okay. And that is okay. Yeah. So I can reassure my child, telling them what is happening. And there are a lot of people who are helping to get rid of this situation, and also helping them to kind of learn that they have a part to play. You're part of the big team, doctors, first responders, your teachers, parents, community at large. You're practicing social distancing. you're practicing hand hygiene, you're changing your lifestyle, and you are playing a big part in controlling the situation. So you're not helpless while you're staying home and connecting with your friend on the social media. Actually, significant role in controlling that situation. So you are, when kids feel that they can play a role in certain situation, their anxiety goes down. When they need to, when they know what is going to be the next. Said a lot of time, don't go into a lot of details, because again, a lot of details make things difficult for people, right? And particularly for kids, they might not comprehend all that. But then let them know what's your plan for keeping yourself safe. This is why we are doing grocery at a certain time. This is why we are doing all that stuff. If we get sick, this is what's going to happen. Grandparents, other family members, these will be able to help us. This is going to be very important for kids to kind of understand that this is, they're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
And there's family members, there's community at large. They're playing a role. This is how they're going to build a positive thinking. And that's what I think is going to be very important to, continue to maintain a little bit of a, better ability to address their anxiety.
Sir, Dr. Saab, amazing. You actually dissected that in all aspect of it. Number one is to be that parent, to be present and available to listen. I think the half of the anxiety goes away when somebody's listened to you. And the other part is, okay, how do you want to know, asking some intelligent question in order to let them, maybe inquisitive mind, come out and explain what they are looking for, and then be able to respond in an appropriate manner. Sir, you actually elaborated in a very clear picture, and I hope all the parents are taking notes how to be out there. Of course, it is kind of age appropriate, how much deeper you can go in there. So in the same token, I think the number one question actually from kids came to me is self-isolation with their friends, school fellows, and general interaction with the same age group. The same age group is stressful. And this is for kids who are feeling the stress of social isolation. So how to overcome, considering you are talking to the kids?
Yeah. So you made this, the question is like how to communicate and maintain that social,
interaction,
while we are socially isolating, right? Or staying home.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's a challenge, no doubt about it, for everyone. I can tell from my personal experience over the last since this pandemic started, it has been a steep learning curve to learn about Zoom, to learn about Microsoft Meet, how to connect with your family and friends and patients using social media and all that. So absolutely, no doubt about it. But think about that. I think kids are ahead of us. If I see that, in terms of like how to use social media, and this is the key. Mm-hmm. Staying socially connected, absolutely very important for kids to be able to play and be with friends and but if it is not possible, then next step is, and kids have been already doing that. Actually, it was a little bit of a issue with some parents even before this pandemic, that there was too much social media. Yeah. So here it is that social media can play a significant good role here. Mm-hmm. Thinking about that, my example is again using the manner. Now we'll talk a little bit about how to monitor that and making sure that it is done in a safe manner, because we're talking about kids. But social media can play a significant role. Connecting with friends, it's going to be very important that as parents, we also encourage them to connect with families, grandparents, cousins, maybe creating a weekly kind of,
group
family gathering, group chat, where they can connect with their family members, cousins, and other distant family member. With friends, there's a lot of times, some parents have told me that they've created kind of a virtual community of kids and their friends, where the kids are able to connect with each other maybe every other day or every day for some period of time. For teenagers, of course, they have been on social media forever, even before, all that stuff started. Maybe, but then, they were also able to see their friends. My suggestions to them is, again, create communities that can, have the same kind of interest that, your friends have. Example is watching a movie that you might have, watched, and then create the group that, you talk about that, the movie.
Yeah.
Maybe doing exercise or yoga with one of your friends who's doing it at their home, and, you're doing it at your home to, kind of, feel connected when you're doing like activity together.
Right.
One other thing is very important that, and it pertains to most of these situations, but particularly this is going to be over. It is not forever. So that is another thing, when we don't know, but it is going to be over. We will go back to our routines. So it's going to be very important to maintain that connectivity, because we don't want to lose our friends. Because one of the fear that people have is that if I don't see my friends for such a long time, I don't know how long, am I going to lose those friendships? Am I going to lose that relationship, right? So that's very important that we keep on going these relationships, these connections, by writing, email, phone, social media. Those are going to be very important. Maybe developing kind of a diary that you feel like sharing with your friends, that this is what I've been thinking. This is the thought of the day. Let's talk a little bit about that next day. I'm just using different examples.
Right.
Bottom line is, connectivity means communication. It is not all the time physical contact, right? So if I'm connecting with someone intellectually, maybe at a level of what I'm creating, thinking, expressing myself, we might have to use social media and electronic media a bit more, and this is how we are going to do that. It is going to be a fine line. It is going to be a fine line, because we do not want to be on social media 24 hours.
Yes.
And maybe we'll talk a little bit about that later, but I just want to think about that. When I'm talking about it, I do not want it to be taken as, oh, it is recommended to be on social media. No. What is recommended is as a good rhythm, where the day is a balance of these activities that we are doing: school, home, meal, family time, friends time, those kind of things.
So virtual world has been in our lives, and especially with the teenagers, and especially with all the kids. Now it is actually playing a positive role in keeping that connection. I remember one of my little daughter never used a FaceTime before, and now she's using, and she's like really have out of the world experience that can do FaceTime. So she's good. The other part is that Netflix actually have another feature. They can watch movies in together and kind of relate to that. But here's the question, right in that line of online. With isolation, more kids are going online, and we are kind of encouraging to help them and keep them in connection with their friends and family, to make new friends. But now they potentially can meet some wrong folks on the internet. So how to prevent this as a parent?
So the question about this internet safety and how to make it safe for kids to use social media has always been there. I mean, even before this pandemic, right? It is, very important to have a very open discussion before, the kids go online and then use these, different things, that, what are the risks and what are the benefits of social media. Talking to them about certain boundaries is going to be very important, right? So use of the social media. The kid is, the more parent supervision is needed. Simple as that. Who you connect with, how long you connect with, who are the people, just like I was using an example of a parent who created a virtual community of friends that absolutely the parents have that community connected, and they know who these people are. So making sure that, this is what's happening. Older teens, of course, they're, you can't be there all the time, but at the same time, having a very, open discussion about the safety boundaries. One of the things is that kids, you want to talk about things that you feel safe about, because if you put something on anything, it is gone. It is not gonna, you cannot, make it disappear from there. So what you're doing is something that you feel comfortable. Feels like, people about, internet safety, that connect with people that you know. Do not connect with people that you do not know, because there might be certain, requests and invites and all of those kind of things can happen. And people try to take advantage of this situation.
Yeah.
So making sure that, we have we have to make sure that, we maybe coming up with kind of a contract with kids. This is how they're going to be using, and maybe talking about it, on an ongoing basis, like how, where the devices are going to be, when you're using it. I think general rule is use it in an area where your, other family members are there. If you're talking to your friends, it should not be, of course, a teenager would like more privacy, and no doubt about that. But then for certain time, you talking to them about the predators and how do they behave and how do they connect, making sure that they let you know, and reassure them that if somebody tried to, get in touch with them and like that, it's not their fault, so that they feel comfortable letting the parents know. Parents can also, have to monitor that long the kids are using, if they are connecting with, and, do not want to watch their behavior as well. That if they're not sharing all that information and they're feeling scared, that's going to be very important, like for parents to explore that further with the kid, what's happening. So internet, media, and safety is always like, talking to the kids, making sure that they're safe. Younger the child, more supervision. Teenagers, when they are doing it, they're doing it, by learning, understanding that there are limits and boundaries, and parents, and they're feeling comfortable if they are being contacted by people they don't know, or what, they can talk to their parents. Well, I'm not an internet IT expert, but some parents have said to me, sometimes they have set up certain passwords,
right,
and timing, and if they feel like doing that, they need to talk to their kids about it, and have a very open discussion why it is important, so that they can say. Bottom line is telling the kids, social media is a wonderful thing, but again, just like any thing, people are there to take advantage. Sometimes it can be used in a manner that is not very good for kids. And that's why we have to have this open discussion, and these boundaries and expectations are going to be very important.
Dr. Saab, I love your idea about having a contract with kid, and an open-ended contract that shows, okay, here's the boundaries, here's what you're going to use it, and how you will seek help. Again, as a parent, giving an open platform so the kids can come forward and ask for help if they needed to. That's if parents are listening, I think that is the bottom line, is setting up a contract with them, an open-ended contract, which will describe how they're going to utilize and continuously use the services for the betterment of their kind of a mental capacity in the self-isolation.
And just to add that, I mean, when we say contract, does not mean that, oh, it's a written document or anything.
Yeah.
It is an understanding, right?
Yes,
and it's
yeah.
open, ongoing understanding, talk, open forum that, parent and child kid have the connection with and continue to use.
Correct. Now here's the part of it where the kids are forthcoming and kids can talk about it, they can express it over there. And now the other part is the kids are introvert. They don't want to talk about it. They might be have been already is a little bit down on their thought process. I don't want to talk about it, or I don't like anybody, or whatever the case may be. Now,
Mm.
with the access of time on hand, overthinking, now we're talking about in social media contests, overthinking of each text they receive, every Facebook, Instagram post, they're going to be overthinking because there's a lot of time. And especially for the kids who don't have a happy home, right? ये भी हो सकता है ना कि उनके घर में कुछ मसला है, and
Right.
so this is adding more mental stress. How do you think they should deal with this?
So one other thing is that there are now again, as I said in the beginning, parents have a significant role, no doubt about it, the family and friends, right? But then the question is, if the kid is not seeking that and does not feel comfortable seeking that help, there are certain, resources available.
Mm-hmm.
And I will send it to you. And, if you Google it, for example, one is Mind Your Mind.
Mind Your Mind, okay.
Mind Your Mind. And this is, if you Google that, staying on the top of your game during this COVID-19 pandemic. So there is a lot of, this interactive exercises that the kids can use to help overcome their anxiety. Certain information for young people through Canadian Pediatric Society, American Academy, they're available. So these are the help, resources available to children if they feel like, well, I'm not feeling comfortable talking about it for whatever reason. But these are some of those online resources that they can go to and use those resources to connect with. But then coming back to that, it is absolutely no doubt about this. Who does not feel like comfortable, or the parents are, again, the question is how to support those parents is going to be very important as well. So as community, it's going to be important that we reach out to friends and family. We reach out to our friends and saying, it's not being intrusive, it's not being oh, I want to know what's happening in your home, but asking them how things are going, how kids are doing. And thinking about that, well, a parent might say that this kind of situation, the kid, my son or daughter, that are all this one, offer them to kind of, okay, well, how about connecting with a community member, a religious leader, a moral, help to connect with these kids. So again, it is not, parenting is not just two people. Parenting is, it's a community job. That's another thing that, we need to kind of understand that, right? So when we, I said that when we ask the parent, kids to go to those online resources, great and wonderful, and they can use, and some kids might use, some might not. Then there could be another part of that community support from the elders, from the leaders, from priests, from religious organizations, from non-government organizations that they can approach. And as a community member, we should ask each other how things are going, how kids are doing. Is there anything that I can help? Is there anything that, did you try that? Did you, talk to so-and-so about this? I'm just using example. So if the kid is not connecting with the parent, there might be, possibility a coach might connect with this kid.
Right.
A teacher, or maybe parent of a friend who the family knows and can trust, might talk to these kids about those kind of things. Maybe one of the things I would suggest, I think it's a good job that we might as a community might think our kids are very smart kids. They are home, so, at this point from university and all that. Help them to create that kind of community, forum where other kids can connect with them and talk to these kids about how they are dealing with these, anxiety. Because kids connect with kids a bit more
Yeah.
easily.
Yeah.
So my thinking is that the community, we can do a lot of that, and maybe, it could be a project for kids from university who can create that, this is available here, guys, every
Um,
day or Wednesday, 9 to 10, there's this, I don't know, meeting, anyone can join. And again, I'm not an IT address, it's safe or not, need to
but
figure this out. But having an forum will be important.
so, these are what we call golden nuggets. Actually, I love one aspect of it, because you mentioned this as that raising kid parenting is a community job, and then totally I agree with that, because when I growing up, of course, you have uncle, aunts, mom, dad, and grandparents, and everybody who help understand different topics at different stages. So this is certainly a good aspect of it. Here's a part of it I actually urge the community members. If you know anyone, if you understand within your community, and there are some kids who might have a little bit trouble communicating with their parents, you should take a lead on it, and go out and reach out to them, and ask them any simple questions, so to understand where their mental health states, or where they are actually feeling. And the second part is to ask one of the youngsters to, in order to create a forum. And I know this is very quite easy, in order to create one and help engage all those people to just to express how they are feeling. I think that's a half of the battle. So amazing. Thank you, Dr. Rizvi. I think that's something I'm going to put forward to one of my youth committee members, to see if they feel they can do something about it. Now, moving on to the other part of it, is kind of again, I'm going to the another part of the spectrum. Is they are overachievers. They are people who the kids who want to do something, and they were doing fantastic, and in school, in grades, in sports, in extracurricular activities. Now with this lockdown, with kind of a self-isolation, they're just like no motivation. And this has no motivation, causing them to waste time by watching too much Netflix, or playing games all the time. Because they are unsure when the school is back, right? Because schools started like end of March, and then April, and now talking about May. So what do you suggest to these overachievers to do in this time of self-isolation?
Yeah. Well, again, this is another thing, overachievers, or any kid, this is another thing, uncertainty of the situation, I don't know when it's going to be open. Like I said in the beginning, one thing that, we need to kind of convey, and the sense collectively as a community, at the family, or at a level, and within our homes, is that, this is never, it's not going to be forever. This situation is going to be changed. We don't know when, but it is going to be changed. So you will be back to your schools, and help them kind of, this is never going to be forever. This is going to be changed, right? Now, we talked about the possibility of, connecting with certain resources within the school, or the Ontario Mental Health, Ontario, which has a lot of, some of the suggestion how to help this situation. But then, within the home and the community, talking to the, and keeping that very open, that lack of motivation comes when there's lack of purpose. And lack of purpose is when I'm not in control, when I feel like helpless. Simple as that, right? So thinking about that again, how can I make myself feel that I'm in control, and as best as possible, I'm maintaining the same kind of days and activities that I, before that, the social isolation era. So as best as possible, keeping a rhythm during the day is going to be very important. Why? Because the motivation part, getting up in the morning, doing exercise, meals going to be, have regular meals, connecting with friends, connecting with your family, connecting with the community at large, talking about how other people are coping with it, will help to feel I am in control, number one. Number two, when we are talking about the schoolwork now, the schools are, like schoolwork is available online, and some of the kids are saying, it's not enough, it's not something I used to do in the classroom? Is it going to be enough for my credits for what I'm applying for and what I'm looking forward? Thinking about that is going to be very important to have this understanding that whatever you are doing at this point is going to actually be a building block in getting to that goal that you were working for. So it's not like, oh, I'm not doing much about it. You're doing a lot. You're doing, you're protecting your community, number one. You're protecting yourself, number two, by social isolation, and then you're doing your school work as best as possible, and then you're maintaining a lot of things that you're doing. And so there's a lot of things to achieve for. When we're talking about the overachievers, let them connect with this overachiever, because overachieving does not mean that just the school and all that. It is right now you are in a situation where you have to achieve more. You have to prove more than what proving yourself. Maintaining a good lifestyle, maintaining safety, maintaining protecting your community, and doing whatever you were doing to maintain the ability to achieve that goal. So my talk to a lot of these young people when they feel like is basically thinking about that. I want you to think about that. Let's change. Realistically look at the situation. You are doing a lot. You're supposed to be doing a lot. You have a lot of things to achieve. And if you're, one of the goal is now to, continue to maintain so that you can get to that goal of your life, where there's university, the college, credits, scores, GPAs. If you are able to maintain that safety, good driver's rhythms during the day, keeping, yourself connected with your friends and family, and maintaining your schoolwork, that's what you're doing. So it's not, I tell them, and this is sometimes say, oh yeah, I didn't realize that, it's not like I'm just sitting home. Yeah. I'm doing a lot. Yeah. And you should be doing it. So empowering them by acknowledging, telling them their role is going to be very important, because again, people will think about, oh my God, now I'm just stuck. No, you're not just stuck at home. Excellent. If you look at realistically, you're doing a lot of stuff, and then we need to talk to them about this, so they feel empowered.
Excellent way, I think you mentioned, is giving them a bigger vision to let them understand how their role fits in all different dimensions, as a powerful citizen, as a responsible person in the society, how they are helping and still learning. So definitely a great way to look from the kids' perspective and letting them know this is the way we are seeing it. Why are you taking yourself down as that you're not doing everything?
I mean, it's nature to feel this way, right? A lot of colleagues and grown-ups have felt the same way. When you're saying, how am I doing the work from here? It's difficult, no doubt about it. And it's nature to feel this way. But then having a realistic view and looking back, what our role is in this pandemic, like you just said, it is going to be very important to help that lack of motivation.
Well, one of my question, or the kids were going through, not a question, but a statement that, which you have already addressed, that online learning is different than in home, right? So definitely kids are reporting that they are not learning, but just doing the work for the sake of this, because there's no real experience of the class. So they're not feeling the progress or growth. But I believe you all already have addressed, if they are doing it, and within this new part of the world, a new norm, if you are doing that part of it, you are still learning and growing day by day, moving forward with that aspect of it. So I know you have already addressed it, but this was one of the statements from one of the kids. Now, one of the last question is, it's kind of a maybe very isolated one. There's few or far between, but I think it did appear in one of my survey. So kids in joint custody now, because of this self-isolation and wanting to keep the distance, now stuck with one parent. Typically, like, whatever the custody arrangements are, they usually have 1 week to 2 weeks to one parent, and then goes to another one. So now they're stuck with one parent. They might be stressed out for this change of this lifestyle. How do you help them cope with that?
Yeah. And this is very, for some families have an issue and they have to deal with it. I just go back to the basics. And again, the basics are parenting. Parenting, there are always two parents. As parents, does not matter that we live in the same household or, we live separately, but we are still parents, right? Mm-hmm. So if the kid is living with one parent at that time, it does not mean that the other parent is totally separated and not in the picture. Absolutely, it's going to be important for both of the parents to continue to connect with the kid, talking to the kid, being available to the kid. If they have any questions or it's going to be more important now when the situation is the kid is spending most of the time with one parent. Mm-hmm. I hope that the parent also have this one thing that they help each other by talking to them. How can I help? And is there anything that I can do, even though I'm not in the same household? But pertaining to an issue, the kid might have maybe another kid. Dad might give them a call or talk to them, and maybe there is a set time. It's going to be very important to have that consistent contact, because parenting comes with predictability, consistency, being available, the kid feeling comfortable that I can, reach out to my parent, does not matter where they live. And if we can create that by, again, being available, and in this, then, as an era, the question, is connecting with the kid, whatever resources we have. Mm-hmm. So, Zoom should not say that, off the record.
Yes.
Any apps, social media, connections, phone calls, emails, talking to them is going to be very important, so that the kid do not feel that, oh, I don't see my parent, they're gone. Particularly, it's going to be very important for young kids, because younger the kid is, the more they feel kind of, they personalize everything, and, they are not able to, kind of project and abstract things in larger perspective. So they feel like, oh my God, I don't see mom or dad, and I don't know how they're doing, right? So it's going to be very important that, both of the parents, doesn't matter where the kid is living, mm-hmm. are consistent contact, talk about, and the same thing that we talked about, how to address the anxiety and worries of the kid. Well, the other parent who is living away can do that virtually also. Mm-hmm. It does not mean that they have to be in the same household. The more we do that, the lesser the stress for the kid is going to be.
Wonderful. Awesome. Dr. Saab, my whole show, and I know in COVID-19 and uncertainty, fear, and a lot of questions of this that I have never seen in my world and my parents and grandparents, that this situation has never happened. So we do not have any playbook to play with. So, however, there's always a hope, and I always talk about hope. In the end, I wanted to ask you what message you wanted to give to our viewers about hope, how you are seeing it, how you are coping up, and what they should be looking for in terms of hope.
Yeah, I absolutely. As I said, it is going to be over, and it is going to be over, inshallah. It will take time, no doubt about it. We need to take a deep breath, step back. Yes, we have to learn and adapt with a very steep curve, but I feel like we are doing a good job, no doubt about that. As a society in Canada, at the government level, our first responders, our doctors, nurses, parents, our media. People, it has brought people together in a different manner without, and having this discussion like today, this is one of the evidence that, as a human race, we are
fighters.
First, we can deal with it, and we we do that. I'm absolutely hopeful that it will actually will come out as a new generation, I guess that would be with a lot of new skills that we have to learn pretty quickly over the period of last few months. I'm very hopeful, no doubt, about that. My message is, folks, to stay home, to stay home, to stay home. Social distancing, hand washing. This is the biggest role that we can play in helping to get rid of this situation. That's what my message would be.
Awesome. Dr. Naveed Rizvi Saab, child psychiatrist with London Health Sciences here in London. I truly appreciate all of your expertise and your knowledge and wisdom you share with us, especially for in this era for mental health for our kids and how to cope with the situation. Sir, बहुत शुक्रिया.
Thank you very much. Khuda Hafiz.
और नाज़रीन, ये था लंदन लिविंग विद रिजवान रशीद। उम्मीद है आपको जो डॉक्टर साहब ने बड़ी मुफीद मालूमात दी और साथ साथ हमने जो लिंक हैं आपके साथ शेयर करे हैं, लिंक जैसे उन्होंने हमें बताया रिसोर्सेज फ्रॉम WHO, फ्रॉम अमेरिकन साइट ऑफ साइकियाट्री एज वेल एज कैनेडियन, एंड माइंड योर माइंड की जो एक्टिविटीज़ है उनके साथ आई होप यू एंड योर kids will feel better and understand your role as a better parent, as a better kids. I hope इस प्रोग्राम से आपको कुछ मुफीद मालूमात मिली होंगी। हमें अपने फीडबैक से ज़रूर आगाह कीजिएगा और देखते रहिए लंदन लिविंग विद रिजवान, जो आपकी खिदमत में हर मंडे को 7 बजे ऑन कैनेडा 1 TV आते हैं। हमारा YouTube चैनल भी है और हमारा Facebook पेज भी है। आप लाइक कीजिए, सब्सक्राइब कीजिए और शेयर कीजिए लोगों के साथ। देखते रहिए लंदन लिविंग विद रिजवान। अल्लाह हाफिज़।